62-412 at Balmer Boulevard and the Walmart East Plaza. And now, down on the corner.
Good morning. You're on something.
You said you had the wrong thing, and all of a sudden.
I hit the wrong key turned on here.
Good morning, North Central Arkansas and Southern Missouri. It is Wednesday, January 16th, 2019 at 7 a.m. He's sitting there waiting, and he says, oh, I hit the wrong thing.
Well, and I did. I didn't have. I had the wrong thing turned on, and I'm trying to resume playing progress.
There we go.
Now you're actually going to come up on TV. All right, now we are on TV.
Now we're on TV.
There you go. I couldn't have messed that up any worse this morning.
You need some of my coffee.
Well, there's a key here that I hit the wrong thing. I saw the two red lights, and I was good, and now we're on.
But you know what? These keyboards don't know how to spell. Have you noticed that?
I don't know they got a problem with that, but that was all me right there.
How many out there have a keyboard that can't spell, or even on your iPhone? Your iPhone can't spell words properly.
Well, you got a record down here, and then I've got the stream button, and then I got a thing called external. I turned on external.
This is sympathy music.
Well, either way, we're now live on TV.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome down on the corner program. Dale Hoffman Jones, along with my outstanding director engineer.
Oh man, this was beautiful this morning. I'm just telling you.
Don't you love stuff like this? Impromptu makes you laugh a little bit.
Nah,
if we could have fun with this stuff, it wouldn't be worth it, would it?
They don't bother me at all.
Life goes on. Hey, welcome down on the corner. Hey, I'm enjoying Brewed Awakening coffee. Hope you're doing the same thing. 3 locations in Mountain Home to serve you. Balmer Boulevard, which is 702. Gonna be busy for the next hour, so just beware. Be patient in line. You got Balmer Boulevard, BRMC lobby, which is our hospital lobby, main entrance. And of course, 62 East Plaza out by Anytime Fitness. Brewed Awakening coffee, the best coffee in town. Went out and got a big bag of it yesterday to restock our coffee over here. And it smells so good in the vehicle coming in. I looked at their menu board. They got a dual list of different blends and flavors and mochas and lattes and iced coffee and hot coffee, whatever you want, at all 3 locations. So check out Brewed Awakening Coffee, best coffee in town. Mike and his gang do a great job. Appreciate their sponsorship for so many years with Brewed Awakening Coffee right here and down on the corner. If you're not drinking Brewed Awakening, you're just drinking muddy water.
There you go.
Yeah, love it. Love their coffee. Morning prayer is brought to you by Roller Funeral Homes across the state of Arkansas and right here in Mountain Home. Roller Funeral Homes, with all our respect. And now is the time for pre-planning. Say, what? Well, I mean, why not? We had Charlotte and Bruce on last week, and wow. I'm amazed at how much they know, and there's things we never think about. So plan ahead.
The little details that make a difference.
Exactly, and there's a lot of little details that we don't know about. There really are. So, nevertheless, check them out. Talk to Charlotte, Bruce, Brad, Chris, anybody down there can help you out. And pre-plan and talk to Roller Funeral Homes, whether you're here in Mountain Home across the state of Arkansas. 29 Roller Funeral Homes in Arkansas, 1 in Memphis, Tennessee, 30 around the region to serve you. Roller Funeral Homes, with all our respect. Very professional, very caring, very loving, and they will help you. Let's pause now for our morning prayer brought to you by Roller Funeral Homes. Heavenly Father, it's kind of funny when we go to bed at night, we make sure the doors are locked. If the car or truck is in the driveway, we make sure it's locked. If we leave our home, we make sure everything is locked. We might leave a light on or a radio or TV on to make it look like the house is occupied. We even have home security systems and car alarms. And then to top that off, all night long, police will patrol our streets and neighborhoods. Why? It's to stop an illegal intruder. Our laws allow us to protect our property our way, yet our country's border is wide open, letting in people who could be drug runners, gun and black market, or other type of criminal. Sure, we'd like to help those in need. That's the right thing to do. But as they come in by the thousands, you have to stop them all. Lord, my prayer is today you help our leaders to see the common sense in border security. Give both parties wisdom, Lord, as I think it seems they're lacking in this. Lord, my prayer is today that you protect our country. And that's my prayer today. Amen. Morning prayer brought to you by Roller Funeral Homes. With all our respect, Roller Funeral Homes.
And now, da, da, da.
Not bad.
Not bad this morning. Not bad.
Morning weather brought to you by Old Time Restaurant on the Square in Mountain Home. Monday through Friday, 7 to 2. Saturday till 11.
You got it.
Wednesday special.
Wednesday, we're doing something a little different. We got pork chops and eggs. Have you tried any of our pork chops before?
Didn't you bring that down one time? We had
yeah. We hand slice our own pork chops out of pork tenderloin, and they are excellent. Comes with eggs, hash browns, biscuit and gravy or toast, all for $6.88. Can't beat it. And then for lunch, you got a choice between ham and beans or liver and onions. Both come with 2 sides, a roll of cornbread.
Wow. It does sound good.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
It does sound good. Old Time Restaurant on the Square in Mountain Home, Monday through Friday, 7 to 2, Saturday to 11 a.m. Best breakfast, best lunch in town. What else going on down there?
Oh, of course, they got all their homemade desserts and all the goodies that you got to have. You can't
Apple
get by
cobbler,
with.
cherry cobbler, the dual chocolate pie, double chocolate.
There's like 30 different pies that she does.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. Wow.
It's good.
Check them out. If you've not been to Old Time Restaurant in a while, today is the day to check out Old Time Restaurant on the Square in Mountain Home. Morning weather brought to you by Old Time Restaurant on the Square in Mountain Home. Today we are starting the day at 34 degrees in Mountain Home. It's not bad for the middle of January. 33 at Harrison, 28 though at Hardy, 25 in Mountain View, 27 at Yellville. Marshall checks in at 25, while it's 34 in Calico Rock along the White River. And then around the region, St. Louis is at 34, while Poplar Bluff is at 30. Branson, Missouri checks in at 32 and West Plains at 30 degrees, but it's only 12 degrees in Watford City, North Dakota. 12. They haven't had a real bad winter up there yet. And so 12 degrees, that's not bad.
We haven't either, and I'm hoping it stays that way.
Well, we got some temperatures coming up that's going to be pretty frigid this week, it looks like. Anyway, the national radar, we have a little bit of shower activity off the panhandle of Florida and the Gulf of Mexico, a little bit up in the upstate New York and New England, trails off into Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Other just precip throughout Colorado, Utah, Idaho, Nevada, Northern California. A little bit off the coast of Washington State. And so nothing real major at this time. We'll get to forecast here in just a minute. Excuse me. Check that Little Rock stop. If it loads in today, we'll see. There we go. Nope. Can you believe that?
That same morning, they having problems with that
Radar's
stop.
down there. Okay, let's go to the Memphis stop here. We'll take a look at Memphis. We'll pick up some of Arkansas. From Mountain Home to Batesville to Jonesboro, Highway 62, 412 east and west, Highway 67, 167, Little Rock to Batesville and Poplar Bluff, Highway 63, and Interstate 555, along with Interstate 55 in good shape. I-40 east of Little Rock, not too bad at all. We'll check the western part of the state. We'll try to hit that Fort Smith area here. In the Fort Smith radar, I-30, Texarkana, Hot Springs, Little Rock in good shape, I-40 west of Little Rock. It is picking up a little bit around Fort Smith. It may just be ground clutter because of the intensity of the radar right now, because I think we're basically clear across the state. I-49, Fort Smith to Fayetteville. As you can see, also Highway 65 from Little Rock to Branson and Springfield in good shape as we speak. Checking the St. Louis radar stop here. Excuse me. I-70, Columbia to St. Louis, then 70 east of St. Louis, Vandalia, Effingham in good shape there. I-44, Lebanon, Rolla to St. Louis. You see I-55 coming in from Sykeston and Cape Girardeau. Then in St. Louis, Interstate 64 east to Mount Vernon in good shape. And so Poplar Bluff, West Plains, nothing going on there. The forecast coming up. Mostly cloudy today with a high of 50. Tonight, 40% chance of showers, low of 44. Tomorrow, a high of 55 degrees with a 30% chance of showers. Then on Thursday night, a low of 36. Friday, a high of 49 with a low of 42. And Friday night, a 90% chance of rain goes into 90% chance on Saturday. And from that point, the temperatures fall. And it could go as low as 18 degrees by Saturday night. Sunday, a high of 27 degrees. That's come up a little bit. So, anyway, real quick on community calendar brought to you by Affordable Housing, 741-2883. We got a long pre-recorded program coming up here in just a minute or so. The Henderson Fire Department is having their commemorative open house Saturday, January 19th, which is this Saturday, from 2 to 4 p.m., recognition of service with food and drinks. Come celebrate with us. Everybody is welcome to come out to Henderson Volunteer Fire Department, Henderson, Arkansas, just east of Mountain Home, about 10 miles on Highway 62, 412.
The Mountain Home High School Bomber Wrestling is going to meet this Thursday, tomorrow at 5:30, and it'll be at the high school gym. Sylvan Hills will be here, along with Little Rock Christian and Jonesboro. So if you're interested in supporting the Bombers and watching a really cool high school meet, coming up.
Coming up now after the break, Senator Scott Flippo, District 17, State of Arkansas, was here on Friday for a pre-recorded session. He's in legislative session as we speak. It started on Monday. This will be the third day. The governor was inaugurated yesterday for his second term, and then all the elected leaders were sworn into their offices. So coming up after the break, pre-recorded with Senator Scott Flippo. So stick around. We're going to be right back.
If you want the best breakfast or lunch in the Twin Lakes area, then you've got to come to the Old Time Restaurant. Voted the best breakfast and lunch for 2011, the Old Time Restaurant not only gives you the Southern hospitality right when you walk in the door, they also offer scrumptious breakfast options to curb that early morning appetite. Or stop in later in the day for a tasty sandwich, salad, or a daily special. If a sweet tooth is your guilty pleasure, you can't go wrong with a pie lady cooking out over 30 different types of pies. That's the Old Time Restaurant, located on the square in Mountain Home.
Our old burger was only 7 ounces, but now it's 8 with brioche bun and pickles. Comes with its own steak knife, it's really that big. Your best competition is always yourself. Chili's is back, baby, back, baby, back. Oh, baby, Chili's is back, baby, back, baby, back. We're focused on one thing, burgers, ribs, fajitas. Just that one thing, burgers, ribs, and fajitas. We're reeling in our menu because it got out of hand. We had a moment of self-actualization. Chili's is back, baby, back, baby, back. Oh, baby, Chili's is back, baby, back, baby, back.
It's that time of year again. Time to take a hard look at your Medicare health plan. If you're looking for a new plan or looking to renew your existing plan, now's the time to renew all your options. At Bacco Insurance, we'll sit down with you and show you all the new choices and options, including $0 premium plans with low copays and dental, vision, and hearing benefits. Let us help take the confusion out of selecting a plan and find one catered to your needs. Contact Bacco Insurance today, located at 351 East 9th Street, Suite B in Mountain Home.
Do you know where your money goes when you give to charity? At the Salvation Army, 85 cents of every dollar stays to help those in need in our local community. Hi, I'm Captain Spaulding. The money we raise help people in the surrounding 5 counties, including Baxter, Marion, Sharp, Izzard, and Fulton. You can help by donating your unwanted items and by shopping at the Salvation Army store. Those in need get assistance with rent, utilities, sending kids to camp, and many other things. When it comes to this charity, the Salvation Army always helps those in our community.
And welcome back to Down on the Corner. It's my privilege to introduce our Senator, Scott Flippo, District 17. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Yeah, and by the time people see this on TV, you're in Little Rock in session already.
We'll be in Little Rock in session, so we're recording on a Friday.
Friday the 11th being recorded so that Senator can go to work for us.
Everybody gets excited when the legislature goes into session, Dale. Have you noticed that? There's hints of sarcasm there.
Yeah.
Everybody holds on to their wallet and
their
their property.
What are they going to do now?
Exactly. So the past couple of weeks as I've been running into folks at the store or restaurants or whatever, and say, getting ready to go into session, and you see this look come over their face. Ooh. I get it. I have the same look.
Do you look forward to it or dread it?
You know what? So it's hard getting ready to be gone for 3 months. And getting loose ends tied up here in Mountain Home and at my office in Bull Shoals. But once I get down there, it's start enjoying it more. But just the preparation and getting things ready for it is always kind of just a hectic time, if you will. But no, I enjoy it.
So what's the most important thing on the agenda overall for the Senate right now? I know the governor was here back in September and talked about a few things coming up. But what's going to be front and foremost in front of the Senate? I
don't know if there's any singular things going to be front and foremost. One of the big bills will be the tax package, looking to reform the tax code, reduce the income tax percentage, and so it'll be a big omnibus bill. And it'll include a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And I have not seen that yet, but I would imagine that there's going to be parts of it I'll like and parts of it I won't like. And so naturally with the legislative process, where you start with something is not always where you finish with it, but that will take up, that's going to take up a lot of oxygen. Yeah. And highways, and what we're going to do with highways will be a big...
The governor asked me when he was here on September 25th of 18, he says, okay, Dale, I got a question for you. What would you do And, we've discussed this many times. The first thing is get your people to drive from West Plains to Rolla, Missouri on US 63. I said, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, and I don't want to get anybody scalding hot at me, but it's nearly a financial disaster to think to have a divided 4-lane from here to Fayetteville because of the terrain. Going east might be a little easier, but either way, if you go from Fayetteville to Harrison to Mountain Home, say as close as Black Rock, that's pretty darn expensive.
Yep.
But what they did on US 63, yes, it's a divided 4-lane in some aspects, but where the terrain gets hilly, they have the offset passing lanes at 60 miles an hour. And that's all we're asking.
And people, that they're fine with that.
And so it works. And so I can go from here to St. Louis for a ball game in about, let's say, 4 hours. And I don't have to run 80, 90 miles an hour once I hit I-44 to be on time. No, I can drive comfortably at the speed limit. But all we're asking, bump that speed limit on 62 east and west to 60. Mm-hmm. It used to be 65 before you made the improvements back in 1973. Know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
We can handle that. We
Dale,
can drive 60 and 65.
You know darn good and well I know what you're saying when it comes to what the speed limit used to be.
Yeah. I'm not saying that we could run 75 between here and Fayetteville. That's not what I'm after. But when you get behind these trucks that can't pull the hills fast enough, that's all we're asking. Just give us enough passing lanes to get around them.
So what if we, if we could do away with the primary seatbelt law and make it a primary infraction to hold up traffic in the left lane?
Oh boy. There you go.
Something we could get behind.
Boy, I tell you.
Oh, I'm sold.
Can't hold up traffic in the left lane.
Well, you'll get it in Tennessee. You get out on I-40 or I-24 and you're doing that. You're going to get it.
And here's the thing, and to think, finally, Scott got a good idea. Once
in a blue moon. Once in a blue moon.
Every squirrel will eventually get a nut.
I always say, with friends like this, who needs Democrats?
Sorry, I had to get a little rip.
Absolutely. Yet, but no, when you're driving, if so especially when you get on the interstate, you get behind one of these semis, and it takes them 20 miles to pass somebody. And then sometimes they don't end up passing, they just kind of get back in behind them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've been going 50 for the past 20 miles. Yeah. And all of a sudden you decide just to get back into the right lane. Mm-hmm. Oh, it just gets under my crawl.
Oh, you get over around mile marker 155 to 165 on I-40 east. Ugh.
Now, where's that?
Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty bad.
Yeah, you get behind the tractor trailers. You've got this one driving 50, and this one tries to pull out, and he's loaded heavier than the other, and he's trying to go up the hill, and he can't pull it because they don't have the power. And you got once you get over around mile marker 155, 160, 165, you got some pretty good hills over there. Mm-hmm. And then mile marker 130 to 140, you got Kentucky Lake over there too.
You make that trip quite frequently. I bet you could probably drive it with your eyes closed at this point.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I know. And your brother lives over there, correct?
I got a brother over there, plus my oldest son and his wife and grandson in Murfreesboro. So, I-40, I-24, I drive an 840, but still. But then you got the Dodge Chargers and the Camaros and the Mustangs that are up trying to run 100 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. And that's ridiculous too. And that's not what we're trying to get to the governor's office. No, we're not here to run the Camaros and the Chargers and the Mustangs 100 miles an hour between here and Fayetteville. We want to drive safely, a good speed limit. 55 is archaic. 60 is comfortable. 65 would be wonderful if it's feasible.
So here's one of the issues. And 2 years ago, the legislature passed a bill that raised the speed limit from 70 to 75 on the interstate. And the Highway Commission, threw it into some kind of safety study. And so here we are 2 years later, and it still hasn't been implemented. And there's one of the problems that I have with kind of the way the Highway Department's set up, or the Highway Commission set up, is they're fairly autonomous at the legislature. And so I feel like, sometimes you just kind of thumb their nose. Oh. And, to me we reduced the highway or the speed limit years ago, not because of safety, because of fuel conservation.
January 2nd, 1974. Remember
it like it was yesterday. And so that's kind of part of the problem I have is like, well, who are you to go against the will of the people? And the legislature being the voice of the people, the voice closest to the people. So we sponsored that bill, ran that bill, we passed that bill, and here we are 2 years later, and nothing's been done.
I know.
And
it's because the Highway Commission does not answer to anybody but the legislature as a body.
And
I say, let the lieutenant governor be their boss.
Something. So, some greater accountability there.
This is
would
the
be
same
something
group of people that put a turn lane on a bridge at Porsche and Black Rock.
Yes. Yes, I drove it. I drove it last month. I went to Memphis for Christmas, and I thought every time I cross that bridge, Dale, I always think of you. Every time I cross that bridge. One of the good things that's going to come out is the governor's gotten behind a bill brought forth by Senator Trent Garner, and that's going to be to cut in half the fee for concealed carry permits.
Oh yeah, $100 to $50.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
And so, a lot of people aren't getting them. Some people are. Mm-hmm. But we'll see a reduction in that. And the governor's going to be supportive of that, so that'll be a good thing. Yep. I'm looking at some bills right now. One of the things I'm looking at with one of my colleagues in the House is to put a picture on your EBT or your food stamps card. Kind of like they do with their credit card. Yeah. Have you ever been somewhere and you see somebody standing out front of the store? Hey, I got $300 on this, and I'll sell it to you for $60. And just
abusing the system.
Yeah, I've talked to people in law enforcement that will say, and this is how a lot of these drug transactions take place: is they don't have cash. Well, they'll go out and they'll sell their EBT cards, and they'll get cash. So put your picture on there. Another thing that we're going to do, and Representative Bentley, one of my colleagues in the House, ran this bill 2 years ago. I supported it. We got it through the House. Failed in public health in the Senate, but it was a bill that was essentially going to prevent you from purchasing, sodas and candy with your EBT card.
Well, yeah, it's basically substantial food items.
Yes, and
meat, potatoes, bread, milk. Your 4 food groups.
So what killed that was corporate interests. And I say that meaning that your big retailers and even your small ones, folks that own just one grocery store, one gas station. It's a revenue stream for them. And what you run into, and what I asked in committee was, at which point do I make my decisions as a senator predicated upon your bottom line?
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah. And so we're going to make another run at that. And so I am the majority whip going into this session, and so that's something that's very important to me. Is that I think that speaks to our platform, and what we're about is making these kind of decisions based upon the taxpayer's best interest, and not the people that are receiving the money from it. I expect anybody in business to never want to see their profit margins shrink.
Right.
But that's not my decision to make. So as I asked these folks as they came to testify in committee, does anybody force you to take EBT cards? No. Okay. So at some point, if these cease to be profitable, you just won't take them. Is that correct? Yes. So what we're talking about here, really, is profit margins.
Yeah.
And that's important for me as a Republican. That and it upset me to see that fail in a Republican-controlled public health committee. Was I don't want to see anybody go out of business, but when I look at spending the taxpayers' dollars, my concern is not your bottom line, not your profit margin.
I'm trying to sort this out in my head. So with the EBT card, we can go buy chips, Coke, Pepsi, whatever, junk foods. Okay, now that adds to bad and poor health. So
which we're also paying for.
Yeah.
For your health insurance, and it's a good example. And I'm sure you all have seen this too. I was at the Easy Mart over by my house a few weeks ago, and stopped in there to get a soda. And there's a young man in front of me, and he had 2 sodas and this big package of beef jerky, and not the cheap stuff, like that the $15 package of beef jerky.
Ooh.
Pays for that with an EBT card, and pulls out a 20 and buys a couple packs of cigarettes. Something is inherently wrong with that.
I was standing in Harps one time, and there was a guy, back then you could pay, I don't know if they still do it, the AP&L electric bills were paid at Harps.
Yep.
So here's this guy, one guy was paying electric bill, and then I'd come through and the lines were busy, so you can check out over here at Tobacco Shop. So I'm waiting there, and here's this guy. He's got dual oxygen tanks. I thought, man, this poor guy, man, I wish I could afford to pay his electric bill for him. Got up there. I need 2 cartons of Camel non-filters. What? And he lays out, Scott, he lays out $80.
So
for 40 packs of cigarettes, I thought, oh my God.
And, and that speaks to a larger problem, which is not all inequities are a result of injustice. Some of it is your decision making. And that's one thing that government's really poor at doing, is deciphering, what are the inequities that are truly a result of injustice? And then what are inequities that are a result of your decision making?
Well, let's go back to that EBT card and the guys that threw out 20 for the cigarettes. Okay, that 20 could be used for substantial food items.
Absolutely.
So how do we qualify for EBT? Or, is it considered discrimination? Okay, let's say that I'm a 2-pack a day habit on EBT. Okay, should I not be subject to some type of test? Okay, you're going to have to stop using tobacco in its entirety if we're going to give you money for food. Because EBT don't pay for cigarettes. But yeah, if I can spend $20 to $30 for cigarettes a week, could that not go back into my fund to buy food? See what I'm saying?
Yes, no, absolutely.
Is it tit for tat here? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
And so, but if the option is there and people don't have to make those decisions, this is what you're going to, this is what you should expect to see. It's not surprising, to me at least, that, you see people, well, I'm going to save my money for the booze and the cigarettes, and then I'm going to buy beef jerky and soda with my food stamps. And, something's, I think for most people, you got to look at that and think something's inherently wrong there. Now, what this bill will do is, we don't get to make that decision just here at the state. We would have to apply for a waiver from the federal government, since a lot of those funds, are federal funds that pay for these programs. But we got to start making inroads. And, when I look at, we have X amount of dollars in the pot. So every time that you make a decision that costs the taxpayers money, and it's something that you have control over, it's sticking to somebody that's in real need, that's in a tough position, not by virtue of bad decisions.
Well, it's like drug test or some of this other. I mean, marijuana, meth, coke.
Oh.
I mean.
And so,
this stuff ruins lives, and it costs a lot of money.
Let me ask you all this. And Scooter, I'm scared to say it, but I'm actually even interested in your thoughts on this.
Okay.
So, we pay for one of the major cost drivers in our state's healthcare system is, one of the biggest ones, obesity and obesity-related illnesses. But tobacco is a good percentage of that, tobacco usage. So, that's a decision that you make to use tobacco. Does the state just, say, we're not going to pay for anything tobacco-related? Is that realistic?
Boy, tough question.
You're going to let somebody sit out there and die of lung cancer, or sit on the streets and have emphysema and not offer them any medical assistance? And on the next route, so we're sitting here, we're going to allow you all of this freedom, but we're going to take away the responsibility of you dealing with the consequences of your actions. And how do you, and that's the kind of thing, it's like being a little bit pregnant. Exactly how does that work?
Yeah.
So are we going to say, well, the government can make you exponentially healthier? I mean, we could outlaw tobacco, we could outlaw alcohol, we saw how that worked. We could do away with fast food and trans fats and all these other things. I mean, government could take complete control of your life and remove decisions and freedoms from you for the betterment of yourself and overall society. Well, you've just given up your liberties, in order to do that. But the flip side of that is, we don't do that, but we're going to sit here and the government, i.e. the taxpayers, are going to be financially responsible for the consequences of your actions.
But then look at my point on the seatbelt. I don't like the mandatory seatbelt law. But yet if I don't wear the seatbelt and I'm in an auto accident and I'm hurt 10 times more severe without the seatbelt.
Sure.
See what I'm saying here?
You bet.
Okay, so I don't like the law. You can't tell me to wear my seatbelt, but if I don't, then I'm putting myself in harm's way if I have an accident.
So where do you draw that line?
Then you're getting back to your choice.
Exactly.
It's like
so is it the government's job to regulate my choice?
And I don't think it is, and that's the sad part. You have the right to screw up your own life. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Now, if that road out here was the US 62-412 was paid for by tax dollars, which is the public's money, so it's not a private road, but yet the government says I have to wear my seatbelt, or I could get a $90 ticket for not doing
Sure.
that. I don't want to wear my seatbelt.
And I have to agree with you. I'm very against the seatbelt rule. But then
if I have an accident and bury my head in the windshield,
then it's your fault. It's your fault.
It's mine.
Yeah, because you made the decision. I don't think the government has the right to get in there and say that. Now, if...
So should my insurance cover my injuries for not wearing the seatbelt?
There's a catch-22 because you got to look at it both ways. You know, I had a friend that got in a major car accident, flattened his truck. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt. If he was, he'd be dead. And there's the stories that go both directions.
Sure.
By far, he ended up falling on the floorboard. The whole top collapsed.
And he survived.
He survived. You know, you can look at both sides to this, and the biggest argument that I think a government could get in is if they think that it could save other people's lives. If they think that you having a seatbelt, getting in an accident, you'd still be restrained and have more control or something like that, to where it affects other people would be one thing. But to say that you have to wear a seatbelt for your own life and your own sake, it's your choice. You know, you want to be stupid. It's like riding a motorcycle. Do you wear a helmet? Do you not wear a helmet?
We don't have a motorcycle law.
You and I would kind of be on the same page there, Scooter, and that's one of my fundamental, say it's a rhetorical question is, you know, does government exist to protect you from yourself?
Yeah. But then again, we put the kids on the school bus from here to the Missouri state line on 3 different highways, and there's no seatbelts on the school bus. Well, that poor driver would be there all day trying to get the kids buckled. Okay, is his time more valuable than the kid's life if you're up around Pigeon Creek or going up Three Brothers area?
Yeah.
You know, we need to grab a break here real quick. Visit with Senator Scott Flippo. We'll be right back.
Whether you're a professional lawnscape contractor or a homeowner in need of quality lawn equipment, Moran's Lawn and Garden has you covered. Moran's is the longest originally owned lawn and garden business in Mountain Home, with a 5,700 square foot warehouse packed full of new current year inventory for all your lawn maintenance needs. Moran stocks a full line of factory parts, and they service everything they sell, offering top names like Grasshopper, Hustler, and Country Clipper. Moran stands behind their quality service with thousands of customers using their products daily. Moran's Lawn and Garden, servicing the entire Twin Lakes area.
When I grow up, I want to save lives, like a superhero, and show up when people needed me.
When I grow up, I want to do animations. I want to create characters that can fly.
No matter what it is you want out of life, there is a path to get there.
When I grow up, I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, but I know I want to go to college.
Arkansas State University Mountain Home. Take your first step at asumh.edu.
Have you ever noticed every time you wash your car, you end up wetter than the actual car? Next time, run down to Car Care and let the friendly staff put a smile on your face. Car Care of Mountain Home has a variety of services to clean your vehicle's needs, inside and out. From a simple wash and shine to their outstanding detailed services. Located 1525 Highway 62 East in Mountain Home. Stop by Car Care Mountain Home today, because driving a clean car always makes you feel good.
Why would I recommend Hospice of the Ozarks? Because I know the people that work there, I know their hearts, and I know that their desire is to help people with the suffering and the anxiety and the things that can come with either terminal diagnosis or a terminal condition. We want them to have a peace of heart and to have a comfort and to know that someone's there to help them through that so they can enjoy the time that they have.
Diatley Dental Care is a family-owned dental practice. Doctors Irvin and Christina Diatley grew up in the Twin Lakes area and are proud to serve the community. With modern treatment methods and state-of-the-art technology, they are dedicated to providing exemplary care to patients of all ages. Our compassionate team consistently receives training above and beyond the standard of care.
We're changing the way you see dentistry.
Come be a part of our dental family.
Jim Brown Company keeps you cool when it's hot and warm when it's not. A trusted name in the mountain home community, Jim Brown Company provides timely heating and cooling installation and repairs. Our certified technicians incorporate new technology on every job to provide you with the most advanced services. At our metal fabrication shop, we handle projects big and small. We've created everything from commercial ducts to custom designs.
I'd recommend Jim Brown Company to my friends and neighbors. The reason being they have high-tech equipment. Their service techs are well qualified for the job that they do, and they also send me a report after all the work is done, so I know exactly what my unit's doing.
By visiting our showroom, you can learn all about our heating and cooling products. We'll educate you on your options and help you decide on the right solution. For total comfort at your home or business, choose Jim Brown Company. Quality service with a family name since 1964.
When you need durable... And we're back visiting with State Senator Scott Flippo, seat 17, who is now in session. This is being recorded on January 11th. And so where do we need to pick up from where we left off? Scooter one.
I want to know his opinion on the seatbelt thing.
Well, on the seatbelt, so
you got pulled over once, did you?
I got a ticket. So I disagree with it vehemently. As a matter of fact, one of my colleagues in the Senate, Senator Terry Rice, and I ran a bill 2 years ago to lower the fine back to $25, which was the original legislative intent. Got it through the Senate. You know, both of us tried at separate times to get it through the House and couldn't get it done. You know,
it's a revenue stream.
It's a revenue stream. But when the legislature passed that bill years ago, they did so because the federal government had, dangled out, I think it was about $9 million, to the state that was available to law enforcement, but was contingent upon having a primary seatbelt law in the book. So what the federal government can't force states to do constitutionally, and this will come to no surprise, I'm sure, to most of your listeners, they break out the checkbook.
Yeah.
And if you put enough zeros on there, you can generally get, get people to, to do your will. Well, a couple of years after we passed that law, cities and counties, get a bill passed that allowed them to tack on additional fines and fees at the local level on top of that $25. And so
some of the tickets issued were $325 in some areas of the state.
Yeah, and there's no consistency. So they can set those wherever they want those, the city or the county, and so they can be higher here or lower over there. So there's no continuity to it. But I'm opposed to it, and I guess that gets back to the reason of, well, they were going to have mandatory life jackets. How many times do you open the bulletin at some point over the summer and you read about a drowning? Somebody jumps into the lake, they don't come back up.
It's mandatory having them on the boat, but it's not mandatory to put it on.
But we're going to require them in your swimming pool, on the lake, on the river. We don't care how young, how old we are. We all agree that life jackets save lives.
Yeah.
So we're going to have now. The thing with legislating and making laws is it comes with the threat of force. And I just showed Dale a little post by one of my colleagues in Virginia. So anytime that you pass a new law, a new tax, it's going to come, implementation comes with a threat of force. Is it worth somebody getting hurt over?
Right.
So we could, it's going to save lives. Now, how are we going to enforce it? And it gets back to this slippery slope, which is, to me, government, one of its core responsibilities is to defend your liberties. We've already got our freedoms by virtue of our Constitution. Government's job is to protect that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a very slippery slope when you start getting into saving lives. Who doesn't want to save a life? Nobody.
Yeah.
But do you want to give up are you willing to give up all your freedoms, all your liberties? And where do you start drawing lines? And I think that's a hard thing for me, or it's not a hard thing for me, I think it's a hard thing for society, is that you got to start drawing lines in the sand of these are not where we're not willing to cross.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's always this encroachment with government, is we're going to solve this, we're going to protect that. And that's all well and good, but what is that going to be at the expense of? And if it's going to be at the expense of my liberty, well, now I'm going to have a problem with that.
No.
I mean, I inherently think it is a good idea to wear your seatbelt. Great chance if you get in a wreck, it can save your life or save you from very serious injuries. Now, it could go both ways, but I think majority of the cases that it's going to be a net positive to wear your seatbelt. But where do you draw the line on that? And I think one of the things that I would like to see done is, and I still wouldn't have supported it, but if we think it's a good idea and it's all about saving lives, then we didn't need, the federal government dangling millions of dollars in front of us in order to incentivize us to do it. If it's a good idea, let's do it. But if you're waiting for somebody to pay you to do it, that right there makes me think, well, would you have done it without that millions of dollars? And if not, then why are we doing it? But that's kind of me on the conservative end of the spectrum, and I know that all do not share my points of view. But I do think it's important for me as a senator to be upfront with where I stand on issues and how I see things, so people know where their senator stands.
But when you look at the seatbelt law, and I can go out and buy a motorcycle and put license on it and follow the law there, but I don't have to wear a helmet.
Yeah.
You've got that. I remember we had a helmet law that was revoked. They knocked it out.
Did they? When was it?
I'm going to say in the early 80s, mid 80s, something like that. And then, of course, you've got the school bus issue. Had the school bus had seatbelts, blah, blah, blah. Well, if a frog had wings, he wouldn't hit his butt on rock when he jumped, too.
Sure.
So, and I've actually had people, well, that poor school bus driver, what do you get those little first graders that can't get out of the seatbelt? Well, at least they're alive. So I can get in my Chrysler vehicle and drive out here and get a $90 ticket between here and say, Nelson Wilkes Heron School if I go west on Arkansas Avenue. And I got dual airbags, and I'm driving 35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So the chance of having an accident are pretty slim, unless something just absolutely goes haywire. Anyway.
And those things, and those things do happen. But again, the broader conversation, the broader point is, at which point, where do you start drawing the line, and at which point even does it enter into the conversation?
Yeah.
So we're looking at doing this, and very good chance that we will do it. But let's bring up some counterpoints here. And that's kind of one of the things that bother me is that sometimes even, you see which direction the train's going, but a lot of times just certain things that are important just don't get brought into the conversation.
Yeah, true.
And I think that's
it's a domino effect.
It is,
you turn around, you say, all right, like you said, you say the seatbelts, to help you save your lives. Well, what other rules are they going to put to help you save your life?
Mm-hmm.
Why is the helmet still not mandatory? Why is all these things you're talking about, it's a domino effect. If you're saying we can pass a law for you to help save your life so that you take away your decision to put on your seatbelt, and we're telling you it's mandatory, you're going to get a ticket and be enforced.
Let me get out of the pot end of the fire. Why are motorcycles legal anyway? Why don't we make them illegal? Because you can get broadside and break your legs off.
Because the federal government didn't dangle $9 million to us to pass a primary helmet law.
There you go. Money talks.
Yeah, you figure you've got a nice pickup truck out here. He's got a truck. I got a vehicle out here. The chance of surviving a T-bone is going to be pretty good. But if I'm on a motorcycle, boom, they're going to hit me one of my either the left leg or right leg. So why not ban motorcycles for safety's sake?
Yes.
You can't do it.
And so again, the broader discussion is it's going to be at the expense. If it's going to be expense of your freedoms and liberties, it warrants, putting the brakes on it and sitting there and having a thorough discussion on it. So, we could abolish, the right to free speech. Mm-hmm. And guess what? We could mitigate the number of times anybody's going to be offended in this country. We could have crazy gun control and maybe see, gun deaths go down. Now, is that coming at the expense of now if you want to go hunt, you got to go to the Game and Fish office and check out a rifle and have it back in at 4:30, in the afternoon, and it's going to have this locking, but you can still hunt. You see how far you can go with these things, in the name of for the greater good.
You want to see the profit of the black market go up on guns? Just make them illegal.
Absolutely. And so I know there's concerns about a lot of from my conservative constituency over red flag laws coming out this session and whatnot. I'm on the city-county, the city-county committee, and we actually moved guns over from judiciary to city, county, and local. And so I sit on that committee, and I'd be very surprised to see any red flag laws come out of there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, people get, and not say unjustly so, but get nervous when they feel like their rights are going to be messed with or infringed upon. So I don't see that happening. But it gets back to the core is, my job is to work to protect your freedoms and your liberties.
I want to talk a little bit about Marion County, Arkansas. We got the Butterball thing going in with expansion on the railroad. Some boat factories are up and coming, some expansions. We've got some good things going on in Marion County. Earlier in the week, we had the mayor of Gassville with police chief and fire chief there in Gassville, Arkansas. Things are looking good in these smaller communities. And so, what do you see economically growing in north central and northwest between here and Harrison?
I see manufacturing being a very big base of very big part of the economy here in north central Arkansas. Do I think it's likely that you're going to see us get some big automobile manufacturing plant? No, I do not. Do I think that's going to move into Marion County? No, I don't. And I think so. The first thing you got to do is you got to be pragmatic about the opportunities that are there, and spend your time looking at things that you can actually have a chance of achieving. But in order to to bring in more jobs is infrastructure, and to our point of our earlier conversation, highways. Yeah. You got to have the infrastructure into place. And
is the highway situation the reason that the railroad is expanding that side rail right there at Butterball in Yellville? I think somebody said there's 4 side rails going in right there.
4 side, yeah, I've heard that. I couldn't tell you if that correlates to the highway situation, but they got the rail spur right there in Yellville. Yeah. And I'm sure that has something to do with it. Yeah. But a skilled workforce. How many times have y'all heard a politician talk about a skilled workforce? I mean, we wear that out. Okay.
Over the last 4 or 5 years, yeah.
What can I do to legislate an individual to motivate themselves to take their studies, their schooling serious, to have discipline, to get up, to want to have a job, to look at it as a privilege, and give it their best effort? So you can do X amount of things in government, but at which point does that conversation not need to steer back to what is the individual's responsibility?
Are we generating a generation that's ashamed to say, well, I'm a plumber, I'm a mechanic, I'm an electrician? Are we afraid to get our hands dirty?
Absolutely. I think that if you look at this crazy thing that is the internet and social media and Instagram and Facebook, and you've got the Kardashians and whoever else, which it's all about envy. And I'm envious of what you have. I'm jealous of what you have. I wish that I had that life. And you look at yours, and your circumstances are not that of somebody that you follow on Instagram. And a lot of times you feel less about yourself, and that is absolutely ridiculous.
I don't think I'm envious of anybody.
No. But I think a lot of younger kids, and that's just the difference in what they're growing up with technology, and so there is no shame in any occupation, which is honest.
Yeah.
In which you go and you give an honest day's work, receive an honest day's pay.
But I mean, if everybody went to the university, got a business degree, and wanted to go into being an attorney or a businessman or a banker or something like that, who's going to build their house, and who's going to wire their house, and who's going to plumb their house, and who's going to do the lawn care for their house?
This is why I tend to be very much a free market capitalist, is that I would rather let the free market dictate the demands in the economy, where the jobs are going to be, what the pay scale is going to be, and not see government anywhere close to it.
Let's hold that thought and take the final break, and we'll come back and talk about the minimum wage increase.
All right.
Be right back. When you need durable and comfortable hospital scrub stat, you need the Uniform Shop. The Uniform Shop is the place for top quality uniforms, carrying a great selection of name brands including Carhartt, Cherokee, and Gray's Anatomy, as well as shoes from Clogs, Softwalk, and Landau, stethoscopes from Littman, blood pressure cuffs, scissors, name tag retractable, compression socks, paramedic BDUs, and Rocky boots. The Uniform Shop also offers customizing, embroidery, as well as minor alterations. Let us put you in uniforms. Shop the Uniform Shop.
The Party Spot venue and DJ service. Contact Tammy Reynolds for your next holiday or special event.
Take a step back in time when going to a barbershop meant more than just getting a haircut. Come into Legionnaire's Barbershop today, a unique gentleman barbershop. Get back in style from a former celebrity hairstylist and a licensed barber instructor who are trained in tonsorial arts and lock removal and happy to give you a straight razor shave. Legionnaire's Barbershop is veteran-owned and operated and located at 848 Highway 62 East in Mountain Home. For a full, old-fashioned barbershop experience, stop by Legionnaire Barbershop today.
If you want the best breakfast or lunch in the Twin Lakes area, then you've got to come to the Old Time Restaurant. Voted the best breakfast and lunch for 2011, the Old Time Restaurant not only gives you the Southern hospitality right when you walk in the door, they also offer scrumptious breakfast options to curb that early morning appetite. Or stop in later in the day for a tasty sandwich, salad, or a daily special. If a sweet tooth is your guilty pleasure, you can't go wrong with the Pie Lady cooking out over 30 different types of pies. That's the Old Time Restaurant located on the square in Mount.
And we're visiting with Senator Scott Flippo, seat 17. Let's talk about the
minimum wage.
Minimum wage.
Not a fan. I knew that it was going to pass. I'd been looking at polling data on, our constitutional, the constitutional amendments that were going to be on the ballot, and I saw which way the wind was blowing on that. However, I'm not a fan of the minimum wage increase. And to my earlier statements before we went to break, I don't really see that as a role that I want government, dictating, what you're going to pay somebody. Somebody can come to me at my business and, I can say I'm going to pay you X amount of dollars to do X amount of work. And that's an agreement that we're going to make. Now, what the minimum wage, initiative did not address is, there's going to be a counterpoint to that, which is it's going to be an opportunity cost for teenagers and young folks that are looking for their first jobs or for part-time jobs. You're going to see an expansion, and it's already coming, in kiosk and fast food restaurants. Mm-hmm. At some point, you're going to have a robot at McDonald's that's going to drop those French fries into the deep fryer. Mm-hmm. You're not going to need somebody to do that.
Nope.
And so where you might have 20, 25 people working at McDonald's on any given time, it's not unreasonable to think that, at some point down the road, you're going to see 5. So for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And why do we just spend all our time talking about, I think we look at the impacts on something and we look at it through the short term. And we look at the impact on specific groups and not everybody. And is that intellectually honest? I don't think that it is.
But no, let's talk about your business. Okay, so if you have somebody that has got all the education necessary to make your business a success, and let's say that you could pay them $50,000 a year knowing that you'd get your investment back probably twofold over what they could accomplish. But if somebody else came in and they're only worth $20,000 a year, that's your judgment, that's your call to make. But now the government's saying, okay, you have to pay them at least this.
Exactly.
And they don't know doodly squat.
So, if you're 16 years old, still living in mom and dad's basement, and you're going to be making the same as a 28-year-old with 2 children.
Yeah. Who has experience?
Not exactly. And so, not all circumstances and situations are equal. And I feel inherently much more comfortable when you let free people decide on their own. Mm-hmm. You can choose not to work somewhere. When people would come to me at my business and ask, and looking for a raise, one of the things I try to really implement is come to me and say, what else could I be doing? What should I be doing? What should I be doing more of? How can I be of more benefit to this company? This company doesn't exist to pay you X amount of dollars. This company exists to provide services and to turn a profit. Now, if you want to make more money, here's what we need to be doing. And when I give raises and I give bonuses and I make a point to tell my colleagues, I don't give anything. You have earned it. You have earned a raise. I don't give you anything. I'm not that charitable. Mm-hmm. You have done something that is warranted of it. And I want people to know that so they understand, this isn't Scott being nice. This is you have done great work and done it consistently.
Well, Yellowville Summit Schools were able to give their teachers and bus drivers bonuses this year. Isn't that great? Wes Henderson was here earlier in January.
And so, whenever you get, you start putting, and it gets back to the point of what's the difference between a republic and a democracy? Mm-hmm. A democracy is 2 wolves and a sheep deciding what they're going to have for dinner. A republic is the sheep telling the 2 wolves, you can have whatever you want, you just can't eat meat. So when you start letting, society at large dictate, what if you can just get majority rule on anything? Well, that's what our founders really were very concerned about, and what they try to set up our government to protect us against was this mob rule, and that we could go around, taking things from others because we didn't have it, because we wanted it. Mm-hmm. And you see countries where, they will confiscate land, they will nationalize companies. And look how well that's worked. It hasn't.
At all.
And so, again, if you can just put something on the ballot and say, well, we're going to pay you $12 an hour. And, at which point, why didn't they do $20 an hour? They knew 20 wouldn't pass, so they started at 11. They got it at 15 in California and Oregon and Washington State, and they knew 15 wouldn't pass either, so they started with 11. They'll go back and implement, and try to increase that. But can you sit here and tell me that comes with absolutely zero opportunity cost for society at large, not just for the business owners or for the wealthy people, but for the people working these jobs? Mm-hmm. There's going to be no adverse impact on them. You cannot say that.
About 3 minutes before we end the program, session, by the time this is on the air, session is in full swing. The governor's now sworn into a second term. We've got a new Secretary of State. We've got a new land commissioner. Your thoughts on this session as you're in it?
So sessions are always difficult and they're always contentious. And I don't expect this one to be any different. You know, everybody's got competing ideas, and you've got this amendment, or you're not going to vote on this unless it includes A, B, or C things, or you take A, B, or C things out of it. And so it's always a somewhat difficult process. And to describe it, it's kind of like organized chaos and drinking out of a fire hydrant. Everything's just coming at you so quickly. And
what I don't like is all the earmarks.
Yeah, and you see a lot of and the earmarks is more at the federal level. But now, Dale, if we could earmark X amount of dollars that's going to resurface and pave whatever road you live on, you might be supportive of it. And that's kind of what the tricky thing is we generally don't like earmarks when they don't benefit us or our communities. But when it comes into to benefit us directly or benefit our communities, the general response is, it's about time. I've been working 2 jobs, I pay X amount of dollars in taxes, and about time I got some of that back. Well, that's kind of how earmarks works. Mm-hmm. And so, these conversations, they are difficult, but they are important that we know that's not just had amongst elected officials like myself, but they're had amongst citizens. That we have these conversations because our government is set up to work is that we take our cues from the people that we represent. But if you all are not, but the citizens have to be willing to be a part of that conversation. And it's not just talking to their elected officials, it's talking to each other. And where do we really want to see this? What direction do we see this ship moving in? Yeah. And if you just simply farm that out to somebody else, I think that's going to make for some choppy waters.
Final minute.
Looking forward, as I talked about the difficulties with session, I am looking forward to it. I think we're going to accomplish some great things this year. We're going to see some needed reforms. We'll see what we can get done with highways. We'll see what this final omnibus tax bill looks like, or tax reduction bill looks like. Like I said, I expect there are going to be things I'll like and things I don't like. We'll see if we can get some traction on some of these food stamp bills and some of the other things that we're looking at. But the big important thing for me, and I think for my colleagues to realize, is who we represent and what the people voted on and what kind of government they want, and it's our responsibility to give it to them. And we look at all the corruption that's been going on in Little Rock. That's on us. You cannot legislate morals. You cannot legislate ethics.
Well, that's right.
You either got them or you don't. And it's high time people start going down to their capitals with a mentality to serve the people and not their interest.
And real quick, I got 30 seconds. I'll reiterate. The representatives and senators want to hear from you, but let's do it in a respectful manner with no profanity.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
State your point respectfully.
It's
whether you're a Democrat, independent, libertarian, whatever, Republican, respectfully.
You will get so much further. If you just want to call to tell me what a big jerk I am, don't be surprised if you don't get a return phone call.
There you go.
But if you call to tell me that you're upset with me on any given issue and here's why, and you'd like to hear my point, I'll call you back.
There you go. With that, we got to say goodbye. Thanks to Senator Scott Flippo for being here. Have a great day, everybody. Coming back live for just a quick minute or so to thank Senator Scott Flippo for his time last Friday. That was pre-recorded on Friday. They are now in session. This is the legislative session going on. Governor was inaugurated for the second term yesterday and gave a speech on the Capitol steps at noon yesterday, inaugural ball last night, and then we got a new Secretary of State, new land commissioner. Everybody else was reelected, and so they're very busy right now in Little Rock. They're getting their noses to the grindstone. So, and like I said at the end of that recording, contact your senators, your representatives, whoever it may be. Do it respectfully. State your opinion. Doesn't matter what your political party or political affiliation is. Do it with respect. State your opinion. Avoid the profanity, the name calling, and all the craziness. Just state your point. And if you need to, go down to Little Rock. You can get up in the galleries about the House and the Senate, and you can watch. You can even talk to a few people, Right?
There you go. There you go. Always like having him on. He's a pretty good guy.
Tell you what, that's a tough job. That's a tough job. Being a state senator or a state representative, it's a tough job because you've got everybody's opinion, and then you've got the chambers right there with another round of opinions that kind of give you a different degree of circle. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
You've got opinions at every point on the clock. So, anyway, thanks to Senator Scott Flippo for being our guest, and we'll see you tomorrow.